The Simpsons are probably the most popular animated series in the world. Since December 1989, Maggie, Marge, Lisa, Homer, and Bart Simpson have been making families all over the world laugh. The series always has its finger on the pulse of the time and regularly questions and parodies social events and changes. However, creator Matt Groening himself probably never thought that he would predict so many occurrences as a result. Sometimes it took only a few months until a prediction turned into reality, but in other cases the prophecies came into effect only years later. In this video, we have summarized the funniest and scariest predictions. Many of you surely know the three-eyed fish Blinky that appears in quite a few episodes. He made his first appearance in 1990 in the 4th episode of the 2nd season, where he can be seen near the nuclear power plant. After the sighting, the residents of Springfield rushed to the barricades fearing a malformation caused by radioactivity. However, the owner of the power plant, Mr. Burns, explains that the fish's third eye is merely the attainment of another evolutionary stage. When he was then offered to eat the specimen, he turned it down. 21 years later, in 2011, a three-eyed fish was actually caught near the Argentine city of Cordoba. This is how Blinky finally made its way from being an allusion to the consequences of radioactive wastewater to actually becoming a reality. Our next example also deals with the impact of nuclear waste. In the episode from the 11th season, the Simpsons fled to the countryside to become farmers. To speed up the growth process of his crops, Homer made use of the chemical element plutonium. This worked splendidly but had the side effect of causing tomatoes and tobacco plants to crossbreed. The addictive tomatoes came into being. In 2013, 14 years after the episode aired, mutated tomatoes were found near nuclear power plants in Japan, which looked quite similar to those of Homer. A crossing of tobacco and tomatoes also exists regardless of atomic power plants because one fan of the series enjoyed the idea so much that he started cultivating his own tomatoes in 2003. His questionable culinary creation actually convinced the creators of The Simpsons to try his crossbreed. Whether they enjoyed it has remained unknown. Disney is undoubtedly the giant of the entertainment industry. So it's not surprising that the studio, founded on October 16, 1923, has already acquired many smaller film studios. In 2017, news then hit the media world that Disney was on the verge of taking over a large part of 21st Century's Fox business. The Simpsons, however, apparently already knew this in 1998. In the episode When You Dish Upon a Star, a movie poster clearly showed that 20th Century Fox had become a part of Disney. That's certainly also a reason why you can currently watch all the Simpsons episodes on Disney+. The episode Lisa's Wedding, released on March 19, 1995, is probably the one with the most actual predictions for the future. The Yellow family visits a medieval festival where Lisa has her future predicted by a fortune teller. She jumps to the year 2010 where our predictions begin. The creators must have already thought that there would be robots as librarians in 2010, as you can see in a scene at the beginning. They were only off by 1 year since the Joe Enrica Mansueto Library, which is completely operated by robots, first opened in Chicago in 2011. It's only a few scenes later that the next prophecy takes place, which turns out to be true. While Lisa and her boyfriend Hugh Parkfield are lying in bed, you can see a Rolling Stones concert tour poster in the background, which was supposed to be a big tour in 2010. In the real world, the band, which was founded in 1962, did not do so until 2012, but the producers were once again on the right track. So, when Hugh and Lisa fly to visit his parents in England, you can see the silhouette of a large building next to Tower Bridge. This is where the Shard would later be located. But the tallest building in Europe was not built until between 2009 and 2012. Whether this is a clear prediction or rather a coincidence, we leave up to you. It seems that the authors also agreed on the fact that there will be clocks in the future that can show more than just the time. So when Hugh proposed to Lisa, we saw the rough predecessor of the smartwatch. There was also a smartphone in the episode, because long before Skype and video calls existed, Lisa was on the phone with her mother Marge to tell her the good news. To do so, Lisa uses a TV phone, which in retrospect can certainly be considered the forerunner of today's smartphones. All in all, our Yellow Prophets make a total of 5 predictions in a single episode. The chubby family man is known for many things, no doubt. The role as a genius physicist, however, is not really given to him. Things are different in the episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace from the 10th season. Homer, who's going through a kind of a midlife crisis, is desperately trying to invent things that could change the world. Quite casually, he writes a formula on the blackboard. On closer inspection, this formula is very reminiscent of the same mathematical equation that is used to calculate the mass of particles. However, this was only discovered 14 years later and is now known as the Higgs boson. Scientists have even revealed that Homer's formula is only slightly off the real formula. Is this still coincidence? For many of you, the election of Donald Trump as US president may have come as a surprise. The creators of The Simpsons, however, foresaw this 16 years earlier. In the episode Bart to the Future, Lisa can be seen as the acting president of America in the year 2030. However, she's facing a country that is on the brink of bankruptcy due to the misdeeds of the previous president. This predecessor is of course none other than Donald Trump. This was also not completely pulled out of thin air in the year 2000, as Trump had also applied to the Reform Party's internal primary elections for the presidential campaign. In a Treehouse of Horror episode from 2008, presidential elections are once again due in America. Homer, who's lucky enough to use a digital voting machine for the first time, determinedly presses the name Barack Obama. However, the machine then thanked him for voting for Obama's opponent John McCain. Homer kept trying to press Obama, but the machine kept jumping to McCain's name. When Homer finally came to the realization that the machine was rigged, the machine promptly killed him. 4 years later, there was indeed electoral manipulation in America when electronic voting machines from the state of Pennsylvania falsely converted Obama's votes into votes for Mitt Romney. The NSA scandal surrounding Edward Snowden is probably still pretty well remembered by most people. At the time, the whistleblower revealed that the USA and the UK had been intercepting and monitoring telecommunications data on a large scale and without suspicion since 2007, particularly in relation to the internet. In the same year, the Simpsons movie was released. While Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie are on the run, they activate a tracking device that transmits to an NSA building. There you can see thousands of employees wiretapping everything and everyone. One of them then picks up the family signal so that their trail can be acquired. In the episode Politically Inept with Homer Simpson, which first aired in 2012, Homer was allowed to be a guest on a talk show due to an internet video. At one point, the bottom-running news ticker reads, "Europe puts Greece on eBay." So far, Greece has not been offered on eBay, but many consider the growing crisis of 2015 and the bond purchases of the European countries as confirmation that The Simpsons, once again, predicted a crisis. Hardly any other disaster is the subject of as many conspiracy theories and alleged predictions as the attacks on the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. Allegedly, there were also references to this in the episode The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson, which was broadcast 4 years before the terrorist act. In the episode, son Bart and daughter Lisa are seen holding up a brochure offering bus rides for $9. If you look closely, you can see the Twin Towers next to the $9, thus forming the date 9/11. Whether that was pure coincidence or once again clairvoyant powers of our friends from Springfield, we leave it up to you at this point. But our yellow friends don't just have a good nose for uprisings and scandals. They've also been spot on a few times in the past when it comes to sports events. The first time was in 2014 in the episode You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, which was aired ahead of the World Cup in Brazil. In the episode surrounding the World Cup, Homer is invited to Brazil as a referee. Crime bosses try to bribe him in order to falsify the results. As chance would have it, investigations into bribery and corruption against former FIFA president Sepp Blatter were already underway a year later. However, not only were The Simpsons right about this, they also predicted the World Cup holders in this episode. Germany ultimately won the final against Brazil with a score of 2-0. In reality, the opponent was Argentina, but the creators were once again absolutely right with their prediction. That's it for today with prophecies that actually turn out real. If you know any further predictions, just leave us a comment and who knows, your suggestion might be in the next episode. If you liked this video, we would appreciate a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, we highly recommend subscribing to us.